Hey fellow comrades, how you guys been doing? It's your boys in here and welcome to more second generation madness. This battle today, guys, I want you to share this video. I want you to leave feedback on how you feel about this video, and I want you to like, dislike, however you wanna do it. Go ahead, or of course do it later on. You don't have to do it now, that would be weird. But do whatever you want. This battle is what I crave. You will see what I mean. This is a match against JukeDuke. And the lead, as you guys are aware, it's terrible. Like, Raikou has, against Starmie, or do say, has to switch out. Like, there's just no way avoiding this. So I'm gonna switch out to my Golem, basically to try to scout a little bit. Since our teams haven't been reviewed, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know that I got a ground-type Pokemon. But now that he sees it, I switch out to my Porygon basically to try to scout if he's got either Hidden Power Water or Hidden Power Grass. Now by him switch now, that kinda takes me up to a point where he doesn't have it, so that is a huge indication very early in the game, but he could be baiting me. Now depending on this guy, I've seen this guy play against Veg before. He used a semi-different team, but man, this guy is good. So I'm gonna need to go into his head, that's what we're gonna need to do. Anyways, Porygon against Steelix, pretty terrible. I do have Psych Up on me, but I just can't handle Steelix. It completely walls me, generally speaking. So I have to switch out directly to my Starmie. No playing games. With Curse Up, I'm thinking maybe he's gonna be tempted to attack me just to get that damage in there, Starmie is naturally quite bulky, even with that mediocre HP. So I'm just gonna go for the serve, just trying to do as much damage as I can, especially with my Porygon around and my Gengar and so forth. I want this Steelix gone. I want this Steel-type Pokemon basically gone from this team very early in the match. Plus he does review his main ground-type Pokemon, so that really does indicate what he's got. He doesn't have a Rhydon anymore, he doesn't have a Golem anymore. Potential Latitar is quite insignificant at this point. So by revealing Steelix, that is a type that really does showcase what kind of Pokemon wouldn't be available after that by facing it this early and trying to take it out. So I do go for the Surf again. Maybe he's gonna just stay in. He does clearly make a better switch here by switching out to Raikou, which does sponge that Surf really well. And Steelix is gonna be, it looks like it can potentially rest, especially if I make a bad switch. So I must not allow that to happen, because if Steelix gets for rest against Porygon, as against things like Scizor, it's very easy. So I have to think here. I must not allow these things to have a safe switch in. So I'm rather debating if I should actually stay in, thinking he will probably overpredict this time around. Maybe he does have Hidden Power Water and he's trying to bait me to switch out to Golem again. But he does go for the crunch, predicts me to switch out, probably to Golem, and he does get a special defense decrease, which is not important, seeing that I'm not going to be taking any moves from this Pokemon in general, and I will need to switch out. Luckily enough, he doesn't get a crit. So I do get that extra damage in, and now I'm starting to realize that he probably does not have the HP Water or the HP Grass. So this is a huge indicator, because Golem is pretty much a safe switch. Now he's still got, I believe, 3 Pokemon left that I haven't seen yet. I've seen Steelix, Raikou, and I think I haven't seen actually 4 Pokemon of his. Still, I'm gonna go for Earthquake here, banking that he doesn't have a good switch for it. But then again, Steelix is kind of weak to Earthquake, so potentially his Pokemon may not be all that weak to the likes of Ground. He does have a Machamp, and Machamp does take that really well. Actually, it takes it much better than I expected. But I'm going to need to play around this, because my Starmie is in a condition where it cannot take anything from Machamp, even a Cross Chop, especially bearing a potential crit. But looking at the HP of Starmie, I'm probably not going to take a single Cross Chop from the likes of it. Now I could switch out to my Gengar. The problem is that Gengar cannot really retaliate against this Pokemon. My team is a little bit different. I'm going to explain while I go into it, specifically like Psych Up. Porygon against Cursing Steelix would be pretty terrible for him, but then at the same time I wouldn't be able to touch it. It's mostly, if you face some situation where Pokemon go for the Curse and it's beneficial to Porygon to get that defense increase as well. So I got Psych Up. Then again, I could be using Curse on top of, but it depends on the situation. Still have to find a way to make that Pokemon work. But for now, chat is in. I am pretty skeptical, but chat is pretty much a safe switch to the likes of Steelix, but he actually switches out to his Charizard. Charizard is an excellent mon, and I'm really glad to see this Pokemon around. I'm really glad to see a person using it. I'm thinking maybe I should switch out because I'm thinking a fire move may be coming my way, but he actually belly drums. Now, I was debating maybe Flamethrower, maybe I could potentially take it, depending, but he does belly drum on my switch to Starmie. Luckily enough, Starmie does naturally outspeed Charizard, and honestly, this was not a switch I should be doing. I really shouldn't be doing. I was actually checking to make sure. If you guys aren't aware, Pokemon in this generation have their stats completely up in the skies. They're absolutely ridiculous, basically. But I'm thinking here, man, you know, Charizard against this, I managed to... he was trying to make that little sweep there, but the problem is I still got Starmie here to completely... not do we say check it? We just kind of ruin its you know, its sweep because of the greater speed. Not to mention I got a Gengar as well with T-Bolt and so forth. So Charizard is not that much of a it's not that problematic of a Pokemon to be facing right now. So Alakazam does come in. I do get to go for the surf. I cannot risk. I cannot recover. I could have recovered, thinking maybe he's gonna do it again depending on his HP. I believe he can still get one belly drum off. But I'm definitely not gonna allow that to happen because that Pokemon can be ridiculous. I got Charizard, I got my Scizor here, and the reason I said Charizard because the Charizard, it's just, But anyways, I switch out to Moltres here, expecting him to fire Punch because I know Alakazam in this generation does run it, and since it's a fire move, it's actually specially orientated. Its attacks are not distributed like in the 4th generation. In the 2nd generation moves like fire, water, and grass, all of them are special. And you know, Fire Punch in the 4th generation, it's a physical move, but in this generation it is pretty much a special move. So I was just trying to see what this Pokemon is about. I actually see he's got a Miracle Berry, I believe, getting rid of that poison. That's pretty bad because I got Mint Berry on me and I got Rest. This Moltres, knowing he's got a Raikou, I'm thinking it's a question, you know. He's got a Machamp as well. I don't got a, you know, this Pokemon doesn't run Drill Peck. At best, he gets like Fly and stuff, but or HP Flying, of course. But Machamp with Rock Slide, so I'm starting to notice this Moltres is probably not going to be that much of an actual useful Pokemon in this particular game. So I'm thinking maybe I can still preserve it for later on. Porygon is going to need to sponge this Psyche decently well. He is poisoned, so meaning that even an Alakazam is not going to be liking switching in freely, especially with poison support going on. And I'm thinking Steelix is such an easy switch here because again I cannot touch Steelix, and yes, he can rest, but maybe I should switch out back to my Legion because potential of Steelix coming in is pretty high. He actually switches out to Gengar. Man, Gengar is a beast because I'm noticing Gengar could be an actual issue. Now, I had Porygon going around against Gengar. He was switching he was switching Gengar into Porygon, and that really does raise a question of why. But at the same time, I'm really skeptical here, you know. I got Psych Up, I don't fear this Pokemon too much. Then again, I can take this Pokemon as an opportunity to recover. That was pretty much my plan to switch him in, because I cannot touch this Pokemon, but thing is, he was switching Gengar in to explode on me. Now, to be honest, I haven't expected this explosion, it's way too early, but then again, seeing that I have a Starmie, he just decided to take the chances and take my Porygon down, because he was just asking himself, what is this Porygon about? Because, you know, sometimes I tend to run this gimmicky stuff, and that Porygon is definitely a little bit of an exception there. Sadly enough, I wasn't able to use it to his greatest extent, but he take it out. And you know what? For a Gengar exchange, that is an exchange I can take. Now, luckily enough, he didn't know that I just switched Porygon in to, you know, to actually recover, because I cannot even touch that Gengar. That was the funny part. But anyways, yeah, as you guys can see, that crunch doesn't do that much to Golem. It actually does way more, it actually does way less than I was expecting, meaning that I can actually keep on switching Golem in against the likes of Raikou, and if he does make a switch into something else, which he does, in this case, he's going to switch out to Steelix. I'm not going to play any games, I'm not going to Rock Slide, I'm just going to Earthquake here, in case he does switch out to Steelix as a Death Fire, which he does, just to be able to allow to switch Machamp into the battlefield. and I'm starting to realize this. He's got Machamp, he's got Charizard, and he's got Raikou there. Those three combination of Pokemon can actually become an actual issue, especially against my team. Starmie and Golem are essential to the battle of this situation. If I want to win this battle, I'm gonna need to make one outplay. I'm gonna need to outplay my opponent at least one time. That's gonna be essential to the battle condition. Anyways, Alakazam, not to mention, has got Fire Punch, so that is a very fast Pokemon, one of the fastest Pokemon, if not the fastest Pokemon in tiers that isn't Uber. I mean, I think Mewtwo is the only Pokemon that outspeeds an Aerodactyl, I think. Anyways, I'm gonna go for the Steel Wing here just to try to do damage, so I know he's gonna be in the range where Sahik is gonna take him out, but he does switch out to Charizard, makes an excellent play. Now, I do break the potential of him, you know, maybe he was expecting me to Sword Dance, perhaps that could have been it, and he could have gotten a second Belly Drum off if I did switch out, but I didn't. So I switch out to my Legion. I'm debating if this was a good condition, but seeing that Alakazam can outspeed me, and he's got the only Pokemon that cannot outspeed me, I could have taken the rest off with a Mint Berry, is Machamp, but Machamp can Rock Slide me. So honestly, I don't got an actual winning condition to get that off easily, you know, that's no Steelix with Rock Slide, so I'm not able to do that. And I thought to myself, you know what, in that case, let's just go with a flow and try to get against this Charizard, but the Charizard probably has Rock Slide as well, so my Moltres isn't going to be doing me any good, especially Raikou with Thunderbolt and so forth. It's not a Pokemon you should be, you know, it's not a Pokemon to save it for the late game. So Gengar in here, I do have Thunderbolt, but I actually decided to go for Shadow Ball in case he actually switches out to Alakazam, expect me to Thunderbolt or expect me to Sahik and so forth. I just want to do that middle play. And Shadow Ball is actually a physical type move, but since I got Psych Up, and if I would have been facing like a Curse Machamp, let's say a cursing situation is a Curse Machamp goes in, gets a Curse Up, and then I got Gengar, I get a Curse Up as well, I am in a situation where it depends. Psych Up without rest is questionable, but it really does depend, and you never know when that can actually come in handy, because a Cursing Machamp is quite... you know, quite, it's not a rare sight, you know, it's quite used, and a Psych Up Shadow Ball in Gengar I thought is kind of cool, so I kind of decided to use it. But anyways, this Raikou is still around sleeping. If he does get a rest under Sleep Talk, it's gonna regain all his health, but the thing is, he's also gonna, you know, his rest is gonna be reset, so we have to keep that one in mind. It's a 1 to 3 chances of that happening, and I actually don't I actually favor that. I favor this Raikou to be asleep, especially against the likes of Starmie and so forth. I would rather him risking getting a bad move than him being completely free of attacking me whenever he wants. But speaking actually of being completely free, Starmie switching in, expecting him to switch out to Charizard, expect me to go for Earthquake. This was pretty important right here, because this will allow me to get the recover off. Now I'm noticing, yes, I do have a Scizor, and he does have a Charizard, and there's no Stealth Rocks in this duration, so perhaps he may still preserve this Pokemon for later on. And the reason I also switch out to Starmie is because even if he switches out to Machamp, Sahik against the Machamp, Sahik or Surf against this Charizard's remaining HP will be enough to destroy it. So I need to recover my HP. Machamp as a combination with Raikou is actually quite essential, because this HP on my Starmie is pretty much what's making it difficult for me, and I need to regain it as much as possible. So he does switch out to Raikou back, as I do go for a recover. A very important turn right here, because this may make this Starmie condition-wise much better to switch against the likes of Cross Chop from the Machamp with the potential of a crit and so forth. Not to mention Raikou is asleep, that's true, but we're still talking about a beast that is just absolute massacre. If this guy had HP water or in this Pokemon, man, this game right here, it would be done. Like, I'm pretty sure it would be done. But we're still around, and we're still kicking it, you know, that's all that matters. Anyways, I'm thinking, will he actually expect me to predict again? Will he actually think that I will do it again? He stays in. I go for Earthquake. I'm pretty sure he may switch out to Machamp at worst, and at best he will stay in and not switch out to his Charizard. And that's exactly what he does. He actually stays in, go for Earthquake, do a lot of damage. I surprisingly don't actually take it out. I was thinking that I'm gonna do at least 90% to 93, 94, but man, that took it really well. That that Raikou is still standing in a good condition, basically. And I'm still thinking, okay, now, you know, here is a thing. I'm pretty sure he may switch out his Charizard, expect me to Earthquake again, and he switches out to Machamp as I go for Rock Slide. So that is an excellent play on his behalf. Should have probably Earthquake again, but the Charizard Scout, you know, here trying to avoid Earthquake damage and so forth, trying to switch out to Machamp, definitely didn't work into my favor. So that is a great move on his behalf. I have to think about this. Starmie is sort of an easy switch against this Machamp, because, you know, even if he switches out to Raikou, I can just easily switch out to Golem. At worst, Charizard may be coming in, but, you know, Charizard cannot really handle a Starmie. So, in general, Machamp, and Raikou and Charizard have a certain of a type condition that I have to break. I have to make an actual play that will put me into a situation where I'm one step ahead. Because while my score may look better, more healthy, we're still talking about an actual Alakazam going around, you know, places, which is also a Pokemon that I'm terrified of. So I have to go for the Surf here. In case he switches out to Alakazam, expect me to go for the Psychic and so forth. And he does switch out to Alakazam, expect me to go for the Psychic, as it does a lot of damage. Pretty much forces him to either attack me with a potential of a Thunderbolt or Thunder Punch. I'm not too sure. I think it can learn Thunderbolt in this generation as well. But he actually Psychics, expect me to switch out. And that was excellent, because I was skeptical. I was really skeptical. Will he actually expect me to switch out? Which he does. A pretty big turn, because with the Alakazam around, you know, just completely gone, we're talking about the potential speed tie with this Raikou, and Alakazam, in all due respect, would outspeed me in general cases. Plus Scissor would have been taken down by a single Fire Punch. So I have to watch out for this. And Gengar would have been also outspeeded. So taking down an Alakazam like that is very important. Maybe he doesn't know this as much as I was thinking, but yeah, maybe Gengar can take a single Psychic, knowing this generation's stats, but it's still a position where I wouldn't want to be in. So switch out back to my Scizor, thinking, okay, luckily he gets the rest under the condition of Sleep Talk. That is pretty big, because now his rest is resetted, and as I mentioned before, I would rather him not have a choice than be in a situation where, you know, he can freely pick whatever move he wants to do. So now he's stuck again for 2 turns. For the third turn, he will, of course, wake up. He goes for a Sleep Talk. Let's see what he's gonna get. He's gonna get a Thunder. He's gonna connect a Thunder. That's a 1 out of 3 chances. Then connecting a Thunder is 70%, which is high chance. But then getting a Paralyzation as well is very, very, very lucky. Luckily enough, we didn't get a Paralyzation on top of it all, so I was able to get a Baton Pass into my Golem, so I was able to avoid a potential Crunch or something else, a potential Switch or something of that nature, potentially, you know. And you know, it's sort of a bad U-turn U-turn equivalent to the 4th generation's Scout moves and 5th and 6th generation's Volt switches and so forth. Still, I go for Earthquake, knowing that he may switch out to his Machamp, he may not switch out to his Charizard. It's way too risky in case I do go for a Rock Slide. He's probably not going to play that game. Switching to my Starmie, knowing that Crush Chop is most likely going to happen. If he switches out to Raikou, well, I can easily switch out to my Golem. Eventually, he will need to do something about it, because this Machamp is going to be just dented further and further down the line, and that's probably something he doesn't want. So Raikou in here as I go for the Psychic, thinking, will he actually predict me to do something else? But then again, the chance of him switching out are really high, or else the Machamp is gonna go down, and his Machamp is a winning condition. Actually, his Raikou is a winning condition, but his Machamp needs to stand strong, especially if he's got Rest and Curse. We're talking about some situations that have to be dealt with in order to have a chance at this battle. As I mentioned, while my team may look a little bit tougher on the health side, this Raikou is definitely putting a huge dent into my team. Golem is my big helping hand in this situation. So Crunch does significant amount. At this point, I'm starting to believe like it's getting more and more damage in for some reason, like its special defense decrease somehow mattered there or something. But anyways, I'm thinking, okay, he may switch out to his Charizard, right? Because he's tried to avoid, and yes, I hit him in with Rock Slide, doesn't miss. That would be terrible if I miss there, because he could potentially still run a HP Water. You know, you never know. Yes, Belly Drum doesn't make sense to HP Water, but then again, Earthquake, yeah, he could have an Earthquake. I can take an Earthquake, but then I wouldn't want to take a Crunch from the Raikou. And again, Machamp and Raikou are his biggest threats towards my team, because Raikou can take on the Scizor no problem, it can take on the Gengar no problem. If my Golem goes down, and Starmie can be handled by a Raikou. So you can see Raikou alone can destroy 3 of my Pokemon. The only Pokemon remaining is Golem that has a chance, and I cannot just explode on this Pokemon because I need to preserve it for Raikou. So that's pretty much the situation I'm in. I do switch out to my Starmie. Luckily, I believe he misses a cross chop there, so that was pretty lucky on my behalf. I do decide to just go for the Psychic this time around. I can get a special defense decrease, which is much better than a Surf. I do not get a special defense decrease, but it is what it is, and he is under a, he is still resting away, so this is still pretty okay, you know. This Raikou isn't, he's a chill guy, you know. This, I mean, chill Pokemon, I mean, he is pretty chill, you know, just chilling away, being asleep, still a threat though, even after being asleep, he's still a threat. Goes for the Crunch, does a significant amount. I'm starting to think, okay, Charizard is gone out of the picture, right? It's pretty easy for me to click an Earthquake and not being able to, I don't need to predict anything special here. There's no flying immunity to the likes of ground, so I can easily go for it, shake the ground a little bit, and try to see if this is gonna be a solid 2-shot. Basically, that is what I was going at. And noticing that damage, it does seem to be so. It does seem to be an easy 2-shot, even with lefty support. Even if I switch out to Starmie with that extra lefty support, he should be at the range where Earthquake should take him out. He does go for a cross chop, he does connect, and he scores a crit, and my god, does that do a lot of damage. Oh man, just makes me realize how important that recover was back before on that Charizard switch that we were expecting. So basically I'm thinking, okay, I have been heavily dented. Now I can attack the Raikou, but I know I will not, I will not 2-shot it. Not to mention that I'm at the range where I cannot take another cross chop, or maybe even potential Rock Slide taking me out. Who knows? And for that, I need to recover. I definitely need to recover in this case. Starmie's typing is so good. It's really pulling in the strings. Sadly enough, it just doesn't have the offensive pressure, such as his other, Psychic-type Pokemon, such as Alakazam and so forth. Anyways, I do switch out to Golem. That damage is still getting real, and just more and more that crunches are just getting really adding up. They're really adding up, and I need to watch out here, because I'm starting to notice that if this Earthquake doesn't take it out, maybe I cannot take 2 crunches in a row. So I go for Earthquake. Luckily enough, we managed to do just enough damage to take down the Machamp, even with all those lefty support. And Raikou is the only remaining Pokemon standing strong here against us. And I'm now noticing, okay, if he gets a crit, that's going to be terrible for us. I really hope he doesn't get a crit, but I don't want to play any games noticing how much Earthquake did before. It wouldn't even take him out. So go for that big bang at the end of the game to take the Raikou down in all the glory and result in this match in a 3-0 score. Now, bear in mind, Raikou could have completely decimated Starmie, it would have completely decimated Scizor, and one-on-one against Gengar, my Gengar would have lost, because even with Destiny Bond, he can scout me out a little bit, he can play around that, he's faster naturally, so that's pretty terrible, and that is how the match went. Thank you for the match, man. I enjoyed it tremendously. It was an excellent match. I have to admit something. Basically, this is the match that really always reminds me why I love Pokemon. This is why second generation, especially if you're facing players that you think are your equal or perhaps even better than you, I've noticed this. I don't know if you guys can relate. You can leave it in the comment section below. But I've noticed that if I'm facing somebody that is on my level or is higher level than me, I tend to have a better battle against them, or I feel like I'm starting to really go at it, I'm really trying to pull my best, because I've noticed that if people are beginners and they got gimmicks going on every now and again, I just noticed that I could potentially struggle with them more. I don't know if I'm clearly not the only one, but do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the better your player is, the stronger the performance you're gonna come against him. It's kind of like they always say in this challenge of life, right, that you aren't really a champion until you actually go against the stronger ones, you know, against the actual stronger than you. You know, that's how I see it, this battles, because all due respect, he had 3 Pokemon against my 4 Pokemon, and it took me forever to take the remain of his Pokemon down. And one mistake, just one mistake, would have cost me the game because of his Raikou. That really showcased his strength of my opponent here. So thank you very much for the match, man. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Be sure to smash that like button if you did. Dislike it if you want. It's all a choice. Leave in the feedback. I want to hear you guys what you think about this match. I really do. And I see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourself. Peace.